Hey everybody, welcome to another Pro Acoustics Tech Talk. I'm Nathan, and today we're going to be talking all about speaker sensitivity, what it is, how it works, and what it means to you. All right, so speaker sensitivity. Simply put, speaker sensitivity measures how efficiently a speaker converts power from an amplifier into sound. This is really important because it basically helps us to know that the higher the sensitivity of a speaker, the louder it'll play with less power. So the more sensitive your speaker is, the more efficient it's going to be at maximizing the sound that it produces, even at a lower wattage. So a more efficient speaker can produce more sound, meaning you don't have to crank up the volume on your amplifier as much, or even use a smaller amplifier. Speaker sensitivity is typically measured in decibels, or dB is how you'll see it on a spec sheet. And normally it's expressed as kind of the industry standard as the decibels per 1 watt of power measured at 1 meter away from the speaker. Meters because it's kind of the international standard. 1 meter, approximately 3 feet. Say we're talking about this speaker, about there. So basically, if you measure the speaker at that distance at 1 watt, that basically gives you the speaker sensitivity rating. So kind of, for example here, a speaker with a sensitivity rating of 90 decibels means that when it's powered with just 1 watt of power, it'll produce 90 dB of sound at the 1 meter or the 3 feet measurement position. So this kind of helps us to understand how sensitive or how efficient that speaker is and how much wattage it will actually convert into sound. And generally speaking, speakers that are more sensitive normally also end up producing higher maximum sound pressure levels or higher volumes. So I've got a couple of totally different speakers here to kind of illustrate this for us. I've got the Pure Resonance Audio C3 ceiling speaker, designed for sound masking or light background music. Then I also have the Pure Resonance Audio S10. Smaller speaker here, the C3, it has a sensitivity, 1 watt, 1 meter of 88 decibels. So 88 decibels at 1 meter, 3 feet away. That's about how loud that speaker will get. The S10, however, does 103 decibels at 1 watt at 1 meter, which is very useful because normally with an S10 you want to project out a long distance, like in a warehouse or in a ball field or something like that, or for outdoor public address, to be able to project sound a long way away. So now that we know those numbers, what's a good sensitivity? A good speaker sensitivity, especially kind of in the pro or commercial world, is normally somewhere between 88 and 92 decibels. Anything much lower than that, you got a pretty inefficient speaker. Anything higher than that, we're talking about more specialized paging horns or stadium horns or that kind of thing. So yeah, anything above 90 is normally considered highly efficient, meaning they'll play louder without needing as much power, which is good for you because remember, when you buy a speaker, you also got to buy an amplifier. So if your speaker is incredibly inefficient, that means you need a big amplifier. If it's very efficient, you don't need as big of an amplifier. When you kind of keep this in mind, it makes sense that this type of speaker would have a higher sensitivity and that this would have a little bit lower, because in the application of where you're going to be listening to it, an in-ceiling speaker, like a C3, may only be in a 10-foot ceiling, which means that it may only be a couple of meters away from your head. So you don't really need a super high output, so you don't need as much wattage to drive it. Whereas, we might be hundreds of feet away from the S10, so it needs to be much more efficient in order to project out that longer distances. So what's the difference between sensitivity and efficiency? Well, the terms are pretty interchangeable, focusing on basically power being converted into sound, and sensitivity is also what you're going to find on a spec sheet or specification sheet or cut sheet or data sheet, not necessarily the term efficiency. So basically, it's important to note that, when you're looking at everything there, higher sensitivity is normally a good trait. So we normally want to try and look for speakers that are more sensitive, and that normally also informs the max sound pressure level, which is also something we can use to calculate volumes at different distances using some calculations. So how do you increase your speaker sensitivity? Well, in short, you can't really, because there are certain ways, but primarily a speaker coming from a factory is already going to have its own traits and characteristics based on how it's built. But it's not the end of the world if a speaker is not very efficient. It just means, or not very sensitive, it just means that you need a bigger amplifier in order to power it. Hopefully that helps to kind of take some mystery out of the world of speaker sensitivity. If we can help with any questions, definitely go ahead and drop them down below. Or if we can help design a system for you, feel free to reach out to us, www.proacousticsusa.com. I'm Nathan, and go ahead and like and follow down below and let us know if we can help with anything else. And until next time, guys, take care.